Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is our daily pitching preview report that we do with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Right now, we're going to take a look at the pitching matchups and assignments for Wednesday, April 22nd. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks so much for being back with us.
Thank you for having me, Peter Loshak.
All right, Wednesday, April 22nd. You expecting to have some good picks at your site this week for MLB?
No, if you want good picks, you got to go elsewhere. If you want great picks, the absolute best picks in the industry, that's what I got. Joe Duffy's picks at OffshoreInsiders.com.
All right, I served that one right up for you. All right, let's start with, let's start Clayton Kershaw. You know, everyone who sees that game is going to think, man, Kershaw can be lights out. Should I take a shot with him? He'll be a huge favorite, although maybe not that huge because Bumgarner on the other side is also a guy who has a pretty good reputation and gets respect from odds makers. What's your take on that one? Probably Kershaw. You know, I mean, his strikeouts are up, but he has given up a bunch of walks. He's given up some home runs. He hasn't really been lights out yet, has he?
Yeah, and Bumgarner is certainly a lot better pitcher in the postseason, but as far as the regular season, Clayton Kershaw has been as good as any pitcher in baseball the last couple of years. But remember my theory that I said with Kershaw, since he did have such a disappointing postseason, I think from a psychological standpoint, it's very possible that he could come out of the gate pretty slowly, and that has been the case. But again, in the case of Bumgarner, remember, he's coming off of a dream season, a spectacular, you know, he was lights out in the postseason. So you could see how he might come out of the gate a little slowly. And you know there's going to be a low total here. So if either one of the pitchers has an off game, and as I said, I think both of these pitchers, because of last year, you could see how they have a bit of a hangover effect. You know, all you need is one big inning from one of these teams to approach the total. So, you know, it's a low total. So I would say because of low total, I might actually lean towards the over.
And then we've got Johnny Cueto and David Price both starting today. And these guys are a little bit different. Let's start with David Price. You know, both these guys have pitched well, but Cincinnati has lost two of Cueto's three starts. Detroit has won all three of David Price's starts. And, you know, even though Price is going to be a big favorite every time he starts, maybe it's justified because Detroit has the lineup to back it up, whereas Cincinnati might not. And, you know, he's pitched really well. He's going to be a big favorite here against the Yankees and Adam Warren, but maybe it'll be justified. The Yankees, you know, have a decent lineup, but he'll probably have another great start. And Detroit, you know, strong lineup going against Adam Warren, who's gotten hit this year. Detroit's already won all three of David Price's starts so far. Do you think maybe, even as a big favorite, Detroit might be a good bet in David Price's fourth start this year?
We know that actually this year the Yankees have been a little bit of a surprise or sneaking under the radar, but David Price is one of the best pitchers in baseball. I don't think, you know, you're going to get much value anytime you're going with David Price. I'd be a little leery that the Yankees, with a little bit less pressure on them, have played pretty well. Because of the number, I'd probably stay away from it. But you'll get actually some better juice with the run line. So maybe the run line play could be the play, because certainly from a pitching standpoint, it is a big mismatch, and maybe the run line might be something to consider because it's all about value, not just about whether a team's likely to win or not. So probably the run line might be the better bet.
And then Johnny Cueto also pitching well. Cincinnati, though, has lost two of his three starts. And, you know, on the road against Milwaukee, decent lineup. Jimmy Nelson, you know, prospect with starter with potential, and he has pitched pretty well so far this year. You know, is this a spot where Cincinnati might be overvalued?
Nelson did pitch well against Cincinnati in his major league debut. Cueto, he's a heck of a pitcher, but I want to tell you, as far as top-notch pitchers, Cueto tends to be a little more streaky than most guys, and the fact he is coming off of a loss, I do think that maybe it's a good time to go against him because, you know, Cueto is certainly a top-notch pitcher, but he has been streaky at times. So if anything, maybe good value to bet against a good pitcher like Cueto where he's coming off of a so-so outing.
All right, and then I want to ask you about the pitching matchup. Sonny Gray and Jared Weaver, right? Gray pitching well so far, had a good year last year. Jared Weaver gotten hit this year and has a recent history of getting hit as well, but still thought of as one of the better pitchers in the league. But maybe reputations have not caught up with reality, and Oakland has a big pitching advantage in this one, or maybe not. What do you think?
I would agree with you. He's got Jared Weaver, that is, has a 6.61 ERA in three starts, although his last outing was a little bit better. We know that Sonny Gray is one of the top young pitchers in the game. Jared Weaver, I guess I'll say what we said about Tim Lincecum that Jared Weaver might be Jared Weaver a little bit more in name than he has been in performance as of late, although I don't think he's fallen quite as much as Lincecum. But Weaver's probably one of those guys who is a little bit overvalued. Whether or not Sonny Gray is going to get a ton of run support, that was the problem last year. I went against Oakland a ton last year when they made that bizarre trade where they really went all in when it came to pitching. So with Oakland, you got to worry a little bit about the run support, but as far as the pitching matchup, definitely Oakland has the better edge here.
And then I just want to ask about Ubaldo Jimenez, right? We've talked about him before. He's a guy who I have looked to a fade in general over the past bunch of years. This year, though, he's given up one hit so far in 10 2/3 innings. That's obviously unsustainable, but how much is he going to fall? I don't know. Is he about to embark on like a first half where he's actually one of the better pitchers in the league, or is he going to revert back to what I was kind of expecting, which is that he gets knocked around more often than not? I don't know. So far, pretty impressive. Maybe he's not going to revert down to a lower level.
Yeah, he's had one of those, he had one of the best years ever in Coors Field, and a lot of people thought he was one of the top pitchers in the game, but I think we find out, if anything, at best he's average. Sanchez, one of these highly touted pitchers who hasn't done quite as much on the field as he has in the media so far. Probably going to be a good pitcher eventually, but I think this will be a pretty high-scoring game, and if anything, put a check mark next to a possible over.
All right, well, that's all I wanted to get to for the Wednesday card. Joe Duffy, what do you think is worth noting that we didn't touch on yet?
Corey Kluber's pitched very well for Cleveland, 2.49 ERA and 22 1/3 innings pitch. Vance Worley, kind of a journeyman pitcher, but 6-2 at PNC Park for the Pirates, 2.36 ERA. Current Cubs are hitting only .213 against him in 47 at bats. The Royals' Jeremy Guthrie, 9-3 with a 3.38 ERA to Minnesota. Kyle Kendrick, of course, is just getting rocked. He's got a 13 ERA. And Avani Gallardo, 7-0, 1.89 ERA and 10 starts to Arizona, including 5-0 at Chase Field. So if you're looking for a pitcher, and Gallardo is a pretty good pitcher himself, but he's really done extremely well, not only against Arizona, but at Arizona. So if you're big into lifetime statistics, maybe going against Arizona would be the good bet.
No, I don't like that one. I think Gallardo's on his way down and will be overvalued heading forward. I'm fine. Whatever he did in the past is fine. I think he's in a descent right now, No,
that's a good point. When you definitely look at the lifetime statistics, and we talked about this in other videos that we've done, you still want to take into consideration when they got that, when they compiled those statistics. And is he as good of a pitcher as he was a couple of years ago? Probably not.
Right. I think I'm going to be leaning towards Arizona on that one, if anything. We'll see what the line is. Thanks so much, Joe Duffy.